Hello and welcome to the introduction for this course. What are the course requirements? You need a computer and internet connection to follow along with this course. Who is this course for? This course is for anyone who wants to learn something new. What is the course format? The format of the course is video. Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to download and install Oracle 18C Express Edition. Before installing Oracle Database 18C Express Edition, it's good to take a look at the system requirements. So these are the system requirements according to Oracle. So the operating system requirements are listed in this area here. If you're going for a virtualization type install, the requirements are listed here. The disk space, you need 8.5 gigabytes minimum for the Oracle software, so it tells you what it needs. And the actual RAM, you need 2 gigabyte minimum RAM. So make sure you have all these requirements that have been specified by Oracle. You also need to have administrative privileges on the computer in which you're trying to install the Oracle Database 18C Express Edition. So open up Google or whatever search engine you're using and just type in Oracle download, and that will give you Oracle software download depending on what country you are. I'm in the UK, so it's going to give me the download page for UK. So I'm going to click on this here that says Oracle software download, and it will take me to the Oracle software page. All right, oracle.com/UK, because I'm in the UK, and then /download. So I'm going to scroll down here. There are different types. There's database download and other aspects, other types of downloads. I'm interested in a database download. So here under database, I'm going to scroll down. We can see the different databases here. The Express Edition is the free versions. Okay, so anywhere you see Express Edition, that means it's a free version. This is the Database 18C Express. That's the one I want. So I'm going to click on that, and that will give me this page here. All right, so I am running on a Windows-based computer, and I'm running on a 64-bit Windows. So this is the one I want. So you choose the one that is relevant to your computer. So I'm going to click on this download option here to begin the download. I'm going to click to accept the license agreement and then click to download. You're going to be taken to a sign up page. So if you've got an Oracle account, you put in your details and click sign in. If you haven't got an Oracle account, there's a button here, an option here to create an account. So you do need to create an account before the download will commence. So make sure you do that. All right, so I've already signed in. So I'm just going to click sign in. And once I sign in, the download will begin. All right, so that's my download here. It has started. Notice here it's got a kind of a zipped format. This is going to be in an extracted format. So you will need a software extraction tool in order to extract the content of this download. So I'm going to be using WinRAR. You can see here, this is the icon of WinRAR. I've already got WinRAR installed on my computer. WinRAR is a free software extraction tool that you can use. So just feel free to Google search it and download if you haven't got it. If you've got one already, feel free to use that. My download has completed. That's the downloaded file here, which is 1.9 gigabytes in size. So I'm just going to go to the location where it was downloaded to. I'll click on that and click show in folder, and that shows me the location. So this is the file. It's in a zipped or compressed format. So to extract the content, I'm going to use a software extraction tool, and the one I have is called WinRAR. So I want to extract it into a folder. So I'm going to right click and create a folder here. I'm just going to call it Oracle, and then I'm going to extract the content into this folder called Oracle. So I right click on the compressed file and they'll say extract files, and then it will give me a location where to extract it to. So I'm going to choose the location. This is my downloads folder, which is this folder, and this is where I want to extract it, which is this folder here, and I'll click OK, and it will extract the content into this folder here. So we'll give it a few minutes for the extraction to complete. So the extraction has been completed. So I'm going to open up this folder and I am going to look for a setup file. Now the inside here, there should be a setup file. This one here is what I want. It's going to say setup. So I'm just going to double click to begin to run the installation. You may get a pop-up window for antivirus. Just click yes to accept that and then continue the installation. So you will get this window here. Click next and click I accept. Once you've accepted the agreement, click next, and then it gives you a location. This is the default location where it installs. If you don't want it to install in this location, you can change the location, but I'm going to accept this default location. I'll click next, and then this is very important. You need to enter a password that you can use. So this same password is going to be used for these user accounts, the sys, the system, and the PDBA admin account. So any password you enter here in future, you can use it against these accounts listed. So make sure you enter a password that you will remember. I've entered my password. I'm going to click next, and it tells me the destination folder where it's going to install the software database. All right, I'll click install, and then it will progress with the installation. So depending on your resources on your computer, the installation can take anywhere between maybe 5 to 10 minutes. So it's different for different system. The installation of the Oracle Database 18C Express Edition has completed. Take note of some information here. It tells you here the multi-tenant container database runs on localhost on port 1521. The pluggable database runs on localhost port 1521, and this is the name of the pluggable database. And if you want to access the database via your web browser, this is the link you need to type into your web browser. So take note of these information. When you're done, just click finish. So that is it for this video. We successfully installed Oracle Database 18C Express Edition. Thank you for watching. Bye for now. Hello and welcome to this video. What is SQL Plus? SQL Plus is a command line tool that you use to interact with Oracle Database. It comes pre-installed when you install Oracle Database. You can use it to start and shut down the Oracle database. You can use it to create and manage database users. You can use it to alter database objects like tables and indexes. You can also use it to insert, update, and delete data. You can use it to run queries on the database, and you can use it to connect to both local and remote database. A local database is the one that's installed on your computer, while a remote database is a database that you connect to that is located in another computer or a network. To launch the SQL Plus, you look into your Oracle installation folder. So this is mine, and if I expand that, you should see an option for SQL Plus. I'm going to click on that, and it will give me this, and is asking for a username. So username, when you installed Oracle, it gave you a variety of usernames you can use. One of them was called system. So I'm going to use system. I press enter, and the password will be the password you set during the installation of the Oracle database. So I've entered my password. I'm going to press enter, and if you are successful, it tells you here you are connected to the Oracle database 18C Express Edition. It tells you the release number as well. All right, so once you see this, it means you have successfully connected to the Oracle database. So from this SQL Plus, you can interact with the Oracle database and perform a variety of database operations. You can also run queries. Let's say I want to check for all the usernames. I can just type in this query, which is select star from all underscore users, and you end up with a semicolon. I'm using uppercase here, but you don't necessarily have to use uppercase. So if I press enter, that will give me all the users in this database. So you can see here, it's giving me a list of different types of users. So there are different commands you can run on this SQL Plus to interact with the Oracle database. So that is it for this quick introduction to SQL Plus. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, I'll be showing you how to unlock the sample HR schema that comes bundled with the installation of Oracle 18C Express Edition. Before you can access the schema, you have to unlock it. What is a schema? A schema is basically a collection of database objects that is owned by a specific user. So the objects could include database tables, indexes, views, store procedures, and other related database objects. So I'm going to be using the Oracle SQL Plus to unlock the schema. So let's access the SQL Plus. So I click on my Oracle folder and I look for SQL Plus, and the account I'm going to use is the sysdba. So what I'll do, I'll type in SQL Plus as sysdba. So I'm basically saying I want to access SQL Plus as a system database administrator. So I press enter, and the password is asking me for is the password I created during the installation of Oracle database. So once I've entered the password, I'll press enter, and you can tell I've connected to the Oracle database 18C Express Edition. So now I can start issuing command. The first thing I want to do is find out the ID of the container that contains the pluggable database which the HR schema belongs to. So this is the SQL command I type to find out the container I need to locate to unlock the HR schema. So once you've entered this command, press enter, and you can tell this is the container, this is the ID, so it has an ID of 3. XEPDB1 is the pluggable database that I am looking for. You might be wondering, what is this PDB seed? Now, PDB seed is basically what is known as the seed pluggable database. It's also a system supplied template which a container database can use for creating user defined pluggable database. The next thing we want to do is find out the name of the service. So to find out the name of the service, this is the query you type in. You select the name as this alias, service name, from this underscore where the container ID is 3. We've already identified the container ID we want is 3. So to find the service name, we execute that query. So I'm going to press enter, and it's giving me the name of the service, which is XEPDB1. The next thing I want to do is alter the session. So I want to switch from the container database to a pluggable database. So the query I'm going to have added is this one here. You type in alter session and then you set the container to equals to the service name. All right, you can see here the query has been executed. It tells me the session has been altered. The next step is to check if the pluggable database is actually open. So this is a command you type to check if the pluggable database is open. You select the name and then you type in open_mode from this and press enter, and it tells you it's now opened, and you can read and you can write to that pluggable database. So finally now we can now unlock the account. To unlock the HR account, you type in this command alter space user, and the name of the user is called HR in lowercase, and then you type in identified by HR, and then you type in account unlock. So what that means is that HR is going to be the name of the user and the password is going to be HR. So press enter, and if it is successful, it tells you user altered. In this video, I showed you how to successfully unlock the sample HR schema. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to download and install Toad. Toad is a database administration and also an SQL development tool. And this is the official website for Toad. It is owned by Quest. So if I scroll down here, you can see the various options. You can download Toad for a free 30 days trial that will give you access to all the functionalities in Toad. Toad is a very popular tool that is used in Oracle database development and administration. There are different editions of Toad. We've got Toad for Oracle DBA edition. We've got Toad for Oracle Developer Edition, and we've got Toad for Oracle Expert Edition. I'm going to be downloading a free trial for the Toad for Oracle DBA Edition. I'm going to click on this download button to begin the download. To begin the download, you have to supply an email address. So enter an email address here. It then prompts you to fill out the rest of the details on the form. Once you've completed all the details on the form, just click on the try button. Next, you are presented with the download page. So click on the download relevant to your operating system. If you have a 64-bit operating system, then select the download option for 64-bit. If you're on a 32, select the option for 32. I'm on a 64, so I'm going to click on this download arrow here to begin the download. As you can see, my download has started. That's my download here on the bottom left hand corner. I'm just going to give it a few minutes to complete, and then I will run the installation. The download has completed, so that's the download file here. So I'm just going to double click to run the installation. You are then presented with the welcome screen for the installation. So just click on next. On the right here, these are the various steps that the installation will walk you through. So make sure you check to accept the license terms. Click next. When you registered for an account on Quest, it usually sends you the licensing details for the trial product. So you should get an email like this from Quest when you sign up, and then you are presented with the license key. So this is the key that you need to copy and add to the licensing for the product. So I've copied my license key. I'm going to click on this button to say add license, and then I'm going to right click and paste it in there. And then there is a site message as well you need to add. If you go back into your email, this is the site message. It says trial version, so you need to add that to the product for the license page. I've copied the text for the site message, so I'm going to right click and paste it there. Click OK. You can see the information. It tells you the expiration date for the license trial period. So click next. So we're now on the product selection page. So these are the various tools that will be installed with the trial version. So I'm going to uncheck all of them. I only need the default tool for Oracle. The other bits and pieces you can add as well, but for the purpose of this video, I'm only going to stick to the actual tool. So I'll click next. This is the default location where the software will be installed. If you want to change that, you can click on the change button here and then change the location. But I will advise you leave the default and click next. You may get this warning here before the installation step. You can click on this check again, or you can click ignore. So I'm going to click check again so that we can see what it is. The warning is not a showstopper. It's just saying that a third-party component dependency is not installed. I'm going to click to ignore the warnings. I'll click on this button that says ignore all, and then click on the install button to begin the installation. The installation has now completed, so I'm going to click on the finish button, and this is what the Toad for Oracle icon looks like. Hello, in this lecture we are going to connect Toad to Oracle database. To begin, right click on the Toad for Oracle icon and click on Run as Administrator, and just click yes if you get a prompt. So it's trying to load the interface for Toad for Oracle. All right, so it gives you some bits and pieces. It tells you that you've got one seat and it expires in 30 days. So just click done and it should launch. You should hear a croaking sound. It's kind of like the sound of a toad croaking. That's the noise that Toad makes when you launch the application. You might see an option like this saying the SQL tuning module is not installed, blah, blah, blah. You can click don't show again and click OK to that. You should get a connection box like this. So this is where you need to enter some details in order to talk or connect to the database. So we've already unlocked the schema called HR. So we'll type in the user or schema name as HR in lowercase. The password also we need to set. Password is also HR in lowercase. There are three ways you can connect Toad to Oracle database. You can use what is called a TNS, you can use direct connection, and you can use LDAP. I'm not going to go into details of the various connection types. It's beyond the scope of this lecture. The TNS and LDAP are mainly suitable for corporate production environments while for local setup, direct connection is more appropriate. So we're going to go for the direct way of connecting. So I'm going to click direct, and inside the directory you need to specify a host name. So the host will be the local IP address, which is 127.0.0.1, and the port that Toad uses to connect to Oracle is 1521. The seed name, which is a reference to the database, is XE. And sometimes when you connect, you can have you can color code your connection, because you can have several connections to several schema. The HR schema is just one schema, so you can have several schemas, and you may want to color code each of the schemas so you know which one you're connecting to. So for here, I'm going to color code mine. I'm going to make this teal green, so this would be my connection color for this HR schema. The next option, installed clients, you use that as it is, it's XE. Everything else is checked out. We click connect. If everything works out okay, if it's happy, it should connect to the database. So we'll click connect. So it is thinking about it. Hopefully it will connect. There's no error so far, so it's looking good. We are connected. So you can see my color code here, which means we have connected to the Oracle database successfully. This editor, when you can expand, you can just drag it along if you wish and expand that. So it is draggable. Okay. I'll just go through some of the features here. It's packed with loads and loads of features, but the ones you're going to be using most of the time is this window here. This is the editor, this interface you can see. This is the editor. This is where you're going to write your code, your SQL code, and execute, and the output, the result goes in there. So this is known as the editor. This is it. You can also access it via the toolbar called edit, and you've got something here called schema browser, which lets you browse various objects within the schema. If you notice here, it tells you you're going to be using SQL to execute SQL on the screen, on the code editor. You've also got the schema. This tells you what schema you're connected to. If I click on the drop down, there are several older schemas that comes with the Oracle database, but we are using the HR schema. Another good tool here is called the schema browser. If I click on that, it gives you, for example, you can look at all the objects within that schema. It tells you, for example, you've got tables selected. It gives you a list of all the tables for that schema. If you want to select a different, it tells you that's the schema HR. This is the object table. If I wanted to select something else, for example, select procedures, tells me these are the procedures and so on. So you have various options you can select from. So schema browser, quite useful if you want to find out details about what is inside a schema. You can use the schema browser. So that is it. So the editor window is mainly where you will write your SQL code and execute your SQL code. So we can quickly test the editor to make sure it is talking to the database. Let's write a very simple SQL statement. So we do select star from. I know there is, let's go back to the schema browser. So if we click on the schema browser here, these are the tables. So we're going to pick out this table called employees. That's the table we're referring to. So I click back into the editor. I say select star from employees. So this is a simple SQL statement. The select means it's going to get all the data from that table. The asterisk means it will pick every column from that table. From is what you need. You need this clause to specify what table the data is coming from. So once you're done, you click on this button here that says execute, and it will give you the output. So this is the result of everything from that table. It tells you here, this is how long it took to execute this script. This is the rows the table has. That's the schema. This here is the host name, which is the IP address. That's the port. And these are other details for the connection string. All right, so we have successfully connected to our Oracle database using Toad, and we have tested the connection works. Thanks for watching. Hello and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, I'll be going through some basic database concepts. We'll begin with the database, what a database is. A database basically is a collection of organized information or data that is stored in a table. A table, on the other hand, stores information in rows and columns. So a table will store usually a collection of related data entries in columns and rows. This table here is similar to what a database table is. So the columns are horizontal. For example, this word terminology can be referred to as a column, and this word meaning can be referred to as a column. The rows, these rows are going vertical. So these database, table, columns, all these are referred to as row. So basically, this is how the table is structured in a database table. So you've got the columns going horizontal and the rows going vertically. Each row in a database table is referred to as a record. A schema is a collection of database objects. I will show you examples of this later on in the course. So any item is referred to as an object in a database. A database is an object, a table is an object, a view is an object. So these are all objects. So a collection of database objects housed in a container is referred to as a schema. Primary key. A primary key is a unique identifier, such as your driving license number or your health insurance record. Is a unique identifier that is used to identify unique records. So no two people can have the same records. So you are able to enforce that using a primary key. A foreign key, on the other hand, is like a primary key, but not exactly. It is used to reference a primary key in another table. For example, if table A has a primary key and table B has a primary key too, so you can have the primary key from table 2 acting as a foreign key in table 1. Likewise, you can have the primary key in table 2 acting as a foreign key in table 1, or vice versa. So a foreign key usually is used to reference another primary key in another table, but primary keys are unique per table. You can't have two primary keys in one table. There are two other concepts I want to illustrate with you. We've got the relational database. A relational database is a database with related tables. Also, we've got the concept of relational database management system. It's referred to as RDBMS for short. It is the software that manages the databases. So examples of the relational database management systems are Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, MySQL. There is a lot more, but I've just restricted my examples to these three. So these are the basic database concepts that you will come across when working with SQL. Hello and welcome. In this lecture, I will introduce you to Oracle Application Express, popularly referred to as Apex. What is Oracle Application Express? Oracle Application Express, or Apex, is a rapid and free development tool used to create web-based Oracle-based applications. So it is free development tool used to build web-based Oracle applications rapidly. The Oracle Application Express will enable you to design, develop, and deploy beautiful, responsive, and database-driven applications using just your web browser. Oracle Application Express comes bundled with installation of Oracle database. So since 2004, every installation of Oracle database will also include Apex. So if you've already got it installed, you should have Oracle Application Express. Also, it was previously referred to as HTMLDB. DB meaning database. Apex has a built-in security system which is robust. This includes authentication system as well. It is highly scalable and it can scale with the Oracle database. Apex will run wherever you have Oracle database installed. With Apex, you can develop applications fast, quickly, and powerfully. So it enables you to develop applications in a very rapid, simple, and powerful way. So with Oracle Application Express, you can go from prototyping an application to production in very little time. So that's it for this introduction to Oracle Application Express. Thank you for watching. Let's have a look at what we will create. So this is the application we will create. It's a database driven application. There is an option to log in, and this is the logout option. So if you log out, so if I click log out, and there is an option to log in. So I just log back in, and this logs you into the application, and this is what the application interface looks like. There's an option here to search for data within the application. You could perform various actions using this action tab. You could select the columns, apply filter. You can do all these functions. You can also download data. You could create new records using this option, this form here. You could edit using this button. Click on that and you could edit any of the existing records. You could also delete records using this option to delete. And what else can you do? You could filter. There's a filter here. You can use the filter to filter data, and you can also sort. You can format data to sort data in certain way. You can highlight columns. You can perform aggregate function, and so on. There's so much you can do using these various options here. So it's a very fun, practical application that is easily created using the Oracle Application Express workspace. So the Application Express is a rapid development tool that enables you to create applications like this very, very quickly. So we are using the data from the database to create this interface that we can publish and deploy to end users to use this application. So this is what we'll be creating for this project on this course. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Hello, in this lecture we are going to have a look at some applications that have been built using Apex. So this is a website from the Oracle Application Express community. So that's the link there to the community, and these are just a look. These are just some samples of applications that have been built using Apex. So there are different types. So when you've got time, you can go through all of them. I'll open a few of them so you can see. This is the internet app, so I'll click on that so we can see what they look like. So this is kind of like an Ask Tom page and stuff. So these are, let's just scroll through some of them, see if there's any that catches our eye. Federal support tool, care caller, and so on. So there are so many. Let's look at another category. This is commercial apps. Let's look at this commercial stuff. Alato, Apex Forms, Beta CRM, and so on. There's quite a few others here, but feel free at your leisure to look through all these various applications that have been built using Apex. This is just to give you an insight of what is possible using this rapid development tool. So I'm not going to go too much into details. I just wanted to make you aware of this site so that you can go through that at your convenience and see what is possible using this tool. So that will be it for this lecture. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and bye for now. So there are different options here. Feel free to read through all of them when it's convenient for you. Take care. Bye for now. Hello, in this lecture we are going to access the Oracle Application Express, also referred to as Apex. When the Oracle 11g Express database was installed, it also added this icon here on your desktop. So this is how you're going to use to access the Oracle Application Express. Sometimes, because it's the first attempt, when you click on this link, it may not work. Okay, if you happen to find that this link does not work, it's a very easy fix. All you do is right click on it, go properties, and click on file location, and it will highlight the link. Okay, so all you need to do is just right click and rename it. It doesn't matter what you rename it to, just rename it to anything and come back and click on the link and it should work. All right, I've already done that. That's why mine works. So if I click on that, it should launch the interface. So this is what the actual interface looks like. This is a dashboard for Oracle database, 11g Express, and is currently running on this port here, 8080. So these are the various options. What we're really interested in here from this database is this one here that says Application Express. So this is what we're interested in. So you click on that, Application Express, and it will give you this prompt. The username will be system. Remember, when we installed the database, it told us that there's going to be two usernames, one called system or sys, and the password we're giving it is what we're going to use. So the password you set up during the database installation is what you need to input in this. So I just type in mine, and click enter, or click login, sorry. So this is the interface. This is what the application express looks like. So there are different parameters here. You see this one, this being highlighted means the interface you can see is the application express. So there are options here. You can create an application express workspace. This is where you would create the workspace. I will talk about the workspace in a minute. If you've already got an account, this is where you log in if you've already got an account on there. So that's it for this lecture. This is the interface. I'm actually going to stop this lecture here. In the next lecture, we will create a workspace. I'll talk to you about what a workspace is, and we'll go ahead and create a workspace. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye for now. Hello, in this lecture, we are going to display the HR schema objects. In our previous lectures, we created a workspace for the application express. I have logged into the workspace, and that's my workspace there. That's the name. So what we're going to do, because during the database installation, we unlocked and got access to a schema called HR. So I want to have a look at the objects or what's inside the schema. To do that, we're going to use SQL. So where it's got SQL Workshop, you click on that, drop down and select SQL commands. SQL is also referred to as SQL. So we'll select the SQL commands, and this is where we write our commands, kind of like an editor for the database. So the command we will write to display the objects in the HR schema is, so we begin with the word select. Select is used to get data or information out of the database. So we type in select followed by the word object, underscore name, comma, followed by another column, which is object. Column names are separated by columns, by commas. So objects, underscore, type. So we are selecting two columns. One will be the object name, and the other will be the object type. So we go to specify where we are getting them from. And the from is what you use to reference the database. So it'll be from user object. So the user underscore objects. And then a semicolon. You always have to place a semicolon at the end of your SQL statements. So what this should do, if the script or the query works, it will give me a list of all the objects and the type present in the HR. Because this from here says user objects, I am logged in here as HR. So the user here, what it's referring to is HR. So it will pick up this user from my login. It will notice that I have logged in as HR. So it will be picking up the objects from the HR user. So I'll click run. Excellent. The script has worked. So this is the result output. So it tells me that these are the object name and these are the object types. I've got it tells me here this is a table called regions, and it tells me this is an index. That's the name of the index. This is another table called countries, and that's the index. So it looks like I've got tables and index. I've also got a sequence here called locations. So we've got here more than 10 rows available. So it tells me here 10 rows returned in 0.01 seconds. It gives you the option also to download this if you wish. So now that we have an idea of the tables we have access to from the HR schema, we are going to create a database driven CRUD application. CRUD meaning you create, you update, and you delete. So the application we're going to create will allow us to add, to update, and also to delete. So based on the information we've got here, I am going to create an application. Looking through the tables here, we've got, let's view the tables again. So we've got countries, locations, departments, and so on. There are more than 10. So it tells you here that to increase the row selector, you need to increase the view. So here it tells you that you can select 10 rows at a time. So I just need to increase this. I'll increase that to say 30. And if I run this again, it will give me more rows. Okay, there you go. It's expanded it. So I've got more than 30 rows. Okay, it tells you again, if you want to expand that, you just create more. You just increase what rows it displays here. So let's look through all this. Oh, there's a table here called employees. Let's see what that table is. Let me do a query. So to get all the information from that table, you do select star from employees. Always put a semicolon at the end. So if I run that, it will tell me everything. Notice it will display 30 rows at a time. If I want to increase the number of rows, these are all rows, I can increase that here. So these are all the columns. All these one here are columns, and the ones going vertically are rows. Okay, so what I'm going to do, we are going to create a application from this data here. Okay, so all right, so I'm quite happy with the content. So this is the table we are going to target and create a database driven application from this employees table. For now, we're going to end this lecture here, and I hope the lecture has been useful. We're going to create more exciting stuff in the next lecture by beginning to create an application that will be driven from the data inside the database. Thank you for watching. Bye for now. Hello and welcome. When users log into Oracle Application Express or Apex, they are actually logging into a shared work area, which is called a workspace. So a workspace basically is a virtual private database that allows multiple users to work within the same Oracle Application Express installation while keeping their objects, their data and applications private. Also, each workspace has a unique numeric ID and name. So if any changes are required to a workspace, the changes has to be submitted to by the workspace administrator. It submits it to the Oracle Apex administrator. So only the Oracle Application Express administrator can approve changes relating to request for the workspace. As a Apex administrator or Oracle Application Express administrator, one of your functions will be to provision a workspace. By provisioning, I mean creating. So you'll be tasked with provisioning several workspaces. Usually some of these processes can be automated with a script. So as an administrator, you can use a script to automate the process that will probably generate a workspace in a runtime environment. However, in this course, we are going to manually provision or create a workspace. So the workspace we are going to create is going to be a manual process, and we're going to create it in a full, complete development environment. To create a workspace, you have to log into the Application Express. I have already logged in with the username system, and the password I used was the password I set up when the database was created. So this is the interface you'll see in order to create a workspace. Notice the create workspace icon there. Before you can create a workspace, there are several things you need to get started. They are listed here. It tells you here to get started, you need to have a database username, which is the name of the database user that's to be created. You need an Application Express username, which is your login name for the Application Express workspace. Note that the login name to log into the Application Express workspace is different from the actual Application Express. So you log into the actual console, this console here, using system, and then the password you set up during database installation, assuming that you are the database administrator. Okay, and then you need to have a password for both the database user and the Application Express user. So there are two sets of password here, and once you've created it, then you can go in and log into your own Application Express workspace using the credentials that you've created. All right, let's start the creation of the workspace. So here is asking for the database user, and it's saying here, if you are using an existing schema, that is a schema that's already in the database, you can select A, reuse existing schema, select yes, which I'm going to do. All right, so I have to use existing schema, and then you select a schema from the list if the schema is listed. So we click on the database here. There's nothing there. So here I am using, sorry, not existing schema. I am using, is asking for a database user. So it's saying you can either create a new database user or you can use an existing one. So I'm going to use an existing one. I know we've got a database username called HR, which we unlocked when we unlocked the schema. And then that's the database username. Next, we need to set up the Application Express username, which is different. That is the username for the workspace. So I'm going to set mine to Blue Lime. Okay. So this will be my Application Express username. So I need to set the password. Okay, so I've entered my password and I have confirmed my password. So notice here I'm using an existing database user, which is HR, and also obviously this should go give me the HR schema as well. So once I've got that, I need to click on this button here that says create. If it is happy, it will create the workspace. If it is not, it will complain and tell me where I went wrong. So I click on create. Okay, it looks like it is happy. Getting a prompt to save this on Google and say never. It looks here, it says successfully created workspace HR. So the name of my workspace is called HR, and it says here to begin, click here to log in. So I click there to log in. So it tells me my workspace is HR. The username is Blue Lime. The password is a password I set. And then I click login, and it should log me into my workspace. So I am now into my own private workspace. So this is the workspace, and it tells you here, welcome Blue Lime. So this is the Blue Lime workspace. So this is where I will create my applications or develop anything I require. This is because I'm an administrator. This is an administrator console here tab. I can manage the services from here. I can manage users and groups. I can create users and group as the administrator, and also specify the permissions or what they have access to perform. So that is it. We have successfully created a workspace in Oracle Application Express. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now. Hello, we are going to create a CRUD-based database-driven application. CRUD stands for Create, Read, Update, and Delete. What that means is that the application we will create will be able to create new objects or new records for the application. We'll be able to read the data that's inside there. We'll be also able to update and also delete records from that application. So I'm going to use my workspace area. So this is my Application Express workspace. So to begin, I am going to use the SQL workshop or SQL workshop. I'll click on the drop down. I'm going to select this object browser here. And what this is, it will allow me to view the objects inside the schema. Notice here it's got table listed, so it will give me a list of all the tables. Here is where you create. Okay, there's an option there to create table. So I have got a list of tables here, and this table, if you are creating a new table, this is the option you're going to use to create a new table, a view, index, and so on. So that's the option to create. I've already got one, so I'm not going to create another. I'm just going to select mine. So this is what I'm going to use. So I've clicked on it once to show me what's inside the table. If I want to look at the data in the table, I click on data, and that will show me all the data in the table. So let's go back to the actual table structure. So this is the table structure. This is what it looks like. It's got a primary key, which is the employee ID. So now that I've seen the table structure, I am happy with the table structure. I need to go here where it says Application Builder. I'll click on that and click on Database Applications. All right. So we've got database applications highlighted. I'll click on Create, and you've got three options. Make sure you've got the one database radio button checked. Go Next. Make sure you've got From Scratch selected. Go Next. And this is where you give the name, application a name. So I'm going to call it, okay, I'll call it employees details. So you can call your application whatever you like. It doesn't really matter. I've just called mine employee details. And every application normally within the workspace will have a name, and they also will have an application ID. Okay, so you've got the From Scratch selected, and you've got the schema. This is important. Make sure you've got the right schema. My schema is HR, I'm happy with that. I go next. Okay, so I've got this option here. This is to add a page. It gives you the various types. So what we're going to do, I'm going to select a report and a form. So these are the various type of forms you can add to your page for the application. So I'm going to check that one, report and form. And here is saying add a report with an edit form on a second page. So what it will do, it will add a report, and also it will create two pages. One page will be for a form where you can make some edits. So, but you need to select the table it's coming from. So I'll click on that and I'll select the employees table. All right, so it's coming from the employees table. The implementation, you got options here. I will leave mine interactive. I want it to be interactive. Okay, so all right, so once you've got that done, click on add page. All right, so notice here is created two pages here. One is the report and one is the form. The report page and the form page. The form page basically is used to update entries, okay, in the employees table, while the report page is used to display the data from the employees table. So we've also got another here to add additional page to your application. Okay, so we can also, where it's got add additional page to your application, you can, however, change the name of the page. So at the moment, both pages for the application is called employees and employees, but you can change them if you wish. So by just clicking on it, so you can click on it and just change, you can change the name if you wish. For simplicity, I am going to leave mine like that. I'll leave that. And if you click on the second one here, it gives you the same, it shows you the same details. So you can change if you want so that you can distinguish the pages, but I'm going to leave mine as it is because it's just a demo. So once you're happy with all the information, you click on the create button. Okay, there's some more information here. If you want to read through that, feel free to do so. I'm going to click create. And when you click on create, it gives you this screen here. So what you do, you just check out for the final time before you hit the create button. It tells you have requested to create an application with the following attributes. This is application ID. This is the name. This is a schema. English is a default. Tabs, one level of tab. Default authentication screen. Anytime you create an application in Oracle Express, it also automatically adds a login form to it. All right, so this is the default theme. If you want to change the theme, you can click on previous, and if you scroll down, these are the different themes, so you can select any themes you like. I'll just look through and see if there's one that catches my eye. Team 11, Team 17. I'm trying to look for one that catches my eye. Let's have a look again. Oh, that one's a bit dark. I'll tell you what, I saw something like bluish color. That's the green one. I tell you what, I'll go for the green just for simplicity. So I'll select that team and go next. So this is the team now displayed. It gives you the option to save if you want. So once you're done, just click on create and it should create the application. So basically that's done. It tells you here application created successfully. So we have now successfully created a database driven application. So this is what the application consists of. It consists of 2 pages. This is the first page, which is employees, and this is the actual form. This here will display the report, and this is the actual form where you can edit, and this is the login. All right, login is added by default to any application you create. Now that we've created the application, we can run the application by using this icon here. So you click run, or you right click and go open link in new window. So I'll click on that, and it now gives me the option to put my password. The password is asking for is the HR one. So I'll type in HR. There's so many logins and passwords. Okay, it doesn't like that. Okay, so let's type in admin. Okay. Oh, sorry, my error. The username should have been Blue Lime, which is what I registered for the workspace. So the username will be the name for the workspace. Okay, which was Blue Lime, because there's so many passwords and usernames. So now this is our actual application. So we are successfully, this is the application running at the moment. So we have created a database driven application. So I'm just going to log out of this for now. And that way we'll end this lecture for now because it's gone on a bit long. So that's it for this lecture. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and bye for now. Hello, in this lecture we are going to remove sensitive views from our application that we have built before we can deploy it and make it usable by others. So this is our application, and this is the design mode. So this view you can see is the development mode. So if I was to deploy this as it is for standard users to use, there'll be a lot of sensitive information that will also be on there. So we need to remove them before we can make it available to relevant standard users. By standard, I mean users that are not administrators, but will need to perform various functions with this application. So the sensitive information here, notice here we've got all these buttons here. These are only available for administrators. Because I'm an administrator in this workspace, that's why I can see this. When I create users to access this workspace, I'll be creating them as standard users. They will not have these options here. So I'm going to remove this view called commission percent because there's a lot of data here. If I click on the next page here, you can see some more. Okay, you can see some commission percent here. There are some values here and salary. So I don't want, because a lot of this information is sensitive. So I want them hidden from this application. So only the administrator can see this, because don't forget this data I have pulled from the database. So I'm going to remove the salary column. This commission percent column. I'm also going to remove the phone number because this has private information. Some people may not want their telephone numbers visible to others, so I'm going to remove those columns. So to do that, all I need to do is click on this edit page here. I'll click on the edit, and I'm given this screen here. On here where it's got page rendering, I'll click on the report columns to expand, and I will target, this is one of them, salary. So I right click, I go edit, and where it's got display type, I'm going to click on the drop down. I'm going to select hidden and click apply changes. So that should hide that column. I'm going to target another one, commission percent, right click, edit. I'll do the same thing here, come here and then apply. I think there is one more, phone numbers, right click, edit. I come here and select hidden and apply changes. So if I go back home, click on the home tab here, and I double click on the application, run it again. If you notice, the views, those views have now been removed from the application. So I could say this application now is safer for consumption. So I'm happy to deploy the application as it is to standard users. Before I can deploy this, also I'm going to create some basic standard users that I want to access this database driven CRUD application. So we've got the sensitive views removed. That's it for this lecture. In the next lecture, we are going to create some standard users that will use this application. Thank you and bye for now. In this lecture, we are going to create some Apex users that will use the database-driven application we have created. And this is an internal application. That means we are assuming that this application will be used internally inside our organization. So we need to create some users that these will be standard users that will use this application. And they will not have direct access to the database, but they will be interfacing directly with the application to perform various functions. So to create the users, while this is the application, all I need to do is go to home, click on the home tab, and within the home tab here you click on administration and you click on manage users and groups. So at the moment there's only one user, which is Blue Lime, and the account type is a workspace administrator. Default schema HR. Is the account locked? No. Password status, password is valid. The last login 18 minutes ago. When was it created? 75 minutes ago. So let's create a user. We click on create user. Okay, so because we are assuming this is an internal organization, username, I'll say Joe Blogs. Email address, I'll just give a fictitious, I'll just say J blogs at jb.com. So this is a fictitious email address. And first name here, I'll just type in Joe. Last name, I type in blogs. Description, I will say, I'll just say account. I'll just say, what should I call this person? I'll just say recruitment. That's it. Recruitment analyst. You can call it anything you want. I'll just say recruitment analyst, and I need to specify some other account privileges. So here I've created the account. Under account privileges, it says accessible schema, null for all. User is a workspace administrator. Notice that is set to no. User is a developer. No, because I want it to be a standard user. Notice these two have been grayed out because I've said no, they are not developers. It's asking if they've got team developer access. I'll say no because they're not developers. Set account accountability unlocked. Yeah, I want the account to be unlocked. Okay, so initially I'll give them a password, and this will require a change of password on first use. So they'll be able to change it to one of their choice. It says passwords are case sensitive. So I just set a password that they can change. Okay, so I'll come down, and that is it. I've not created any user groups, but the process is the same. Okay, so for simplicity, it's already created it. If you want to create another one, you just click on create and create another. So I click on create. So it's already created that one. It says user created. So it gives you the option to start the process again to create more accounts. But the process is the same, so I'm not going to repeat it for that one. So if I click on users, it should give me two users. One is Blue Lime, which is me, the administrator. Although here for Joe Blogs is showing the workspace as a workspace administrator. This is probably because I'm using the same group, but it's not actually, Joe Blogs hasn't got the privileges because I've removed them. So this will be apparent when I log in as Joe Blogs. So we have created a new user, so you can create several more users using the same process. So let me go back to the home page and click to run the application again. So notice I'm logged in as Blue Lime as an administrator. I get all these tabs which are the administrator tabs that will enable me to do stuff and get access to more stuff. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go back to, I'm going to log out now. Notice that we've already created an account for another user called Joe Blogs. But before I stop this lecture, I just want to highlight one more thing. The reason that this user I created is showing as administrator because I haven't created any other groups. So if I click on this edit button here, notice there's no groups here listed. If I had created a group, say for standard users, then I would have added that user onto that group, and it will now show as that group member. At the moment, I haven't added it, hence it's showing as the same account group. But that's okay. The process is the same as creating a new user. So that's it for this lecture. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. In this lecture, we are going to publish the application URL, which is URL stands for Universal Resource Locator. This is so that the end users of this application will know how to access the application. Normally we will in a typical live production environment. Once you've developed an application, you need to deploy it somewhere, maybe to a live server or you deploy it in the cloud. And in the process of deploying it, you also publish the URL for the application. Because this application, we created it in a development workspace, we are going to leave it in the development workspace because it's just a development demo. But in a typical live production environment, you would deploy it somewhere. Once it's been developed, you deploy it and then you publish. So here in this lecture, we are only going to publish the URL so that our Apex users can access the application. So this is my workspace. So to publish, basically what publishing the URL means is just getting the link to where the application is so that the end users can access it, because they wouldn't have access to this development environment. So to do that, you know where it's got run application? If you right click, if you hover your mouse over it, you can see the URL there. This is the URL for the application. All right, one thing we can do, another easy thing to do, well, we've got this command here. We can right click and there's an option here to copy the link address. So we'll click on copy and open a notepad and just see what it looks like. So this is the actual link. This is what has been copied. So I'll just run through each part with you. This here is obviously this means it's running on the local machine and is running on that port. Okay, that's the port. So anyone acts in a typical environment, we will not be using this IP address, because this IP address will be referencing the local machine where the development is. So in a typical production environment, this will not stay, it will not be deployed here. It will be developed here, but it will be deployed to a more central location or a server, and then that server URL is then published and given out to the end users. All right, but just for the demo, we're going to assume that all the users are located inside this same machine that I am using. So this is the IP address, and this 8080 is the port. The Apex here is the URL of the server. It tells you the Apex server. Okay. This F*P is a prefix used by Oracle Application Express, and this number here is the application that is being called. Notice our application ID is 100, so that is the number for the application that is being called. And the number 1 here, number 1 refers to the page within the application to be. I've made this a bit bigger so that you can see. So the link here is basically the link for the application. So this here refers to the page being displayed. This long number here is the session number, which is unique for every user that accesses the application. So when you are publishing, you do not include the session number as part of the URL communication to your end users. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out of my session. Okay, I'll log out. So it tells me now you are now logged out. So I will now assume. So I'm going to send the link now, this URL, to the end users. Although I've only created one, I'm going to assume we've got several. So I'm going to send that link. So assuming I've sent the link to the end user, and then the end user goes to their web browser. So we're going to assume that the end user has got the link and pasted the link inside this web browser. So we'll click enter. So I am now the end user, standard user. So I need to change from Blue Lime to Joe Blogs. Okay, so this is the standard user, Joe Blogs. Trying to access the application via the link that was sent. So I'm now logging in to test the application as a standard user. All right, so I am now logged into the application. It tells you here, welcome Joe Blogs. All right, so if you notice straight away, it hasn't got the sub menus here that I had as the administrator of the workspace. So this is only the standard view. So Joe Blogs can edit stuff from this, can add new records by creating. Okay, so it's got various views it can access. So we can see that Joe Blogs, which is one of our Apex user, the only one we've set up so far, can access the application. So that's it. We have successfully in this lecture published the URL to our Apex user who has successfully logged on to test the application. Notice we are using the local IP. If this user was based somewhere else, or if they try this link on their machine, it will not work because the database is not located on their machine. If, however, this was deployed to a central location where there is a Oracle database, then it will work. Just remember that this data is coming from the database. Thank you for watching. Bye for now. Hello, in this lecture we are going to perform some basic CRUD functions. CRUD meaning create, read, update and delete. So we'll perform a couple of these functions. So I'm going to log in as a standard Apex user, which is Joe Blogs. And put my password in and then click on the login tab. So I am logged in as Joe Blogs. So there's a lot you can perform with this application. You can do a search. Say if I wanted to search for anyone called Smith, I just type in Smith and click on go, and it's giving me a return of 2 rows. So there are 2 people called Smith in this application. Say if I wanted to search for everyone called, say, James. Okay, it's nothing found. So let's just say Brown. Brown is another common name. Okay, let's go back one. Oops, I have logged into come back. Okay, let's search for the surname Brown. Click on go. No data found. Okay, we have found Smith. We did a search for Smith earlier. Okay, let's go back and back one again. Anyway, this is where, say for example, we've got a name here called King, we've got Austin, you know, there's more rows here you can skip. So rather than, if you wanted to search for says David, let's see how many people called David here. Just search for David. Under actions, the different things you can do, you can filter. Okay, saying here What does that cross says? Remove filter. It means that there are filters applied. So you can remove the filter if you wish. Anyway, this is a search field for searching for items within the application. So you could search for things like name and stuff. And you can use these actions here. You can select column names and you can apply a filter, and you can select the range and all kinds of things. So feel free to try some of these options. If you are going to create a new record, you'll be using this create button and you'll be filling out the records inside this form based on the format already in the table. All right. If you wanted to update an existing record, you click on this button here. Notice that the standard user hasn't got direct access to the database, so they'll be doing stuff with the application through the application interface, which is this. So you click on that to edit. Say for example, they wanted to, you've got the salary here, although this column is hidden, you can make amendments here if you wish to. Say for example, you wanted to change the hire date from 03 to 04. Just come here and change that to 04 and click apply changes. So if we go back now to home page and we click on King here, now we did change this to, yeah, notice still showing as, so we did click on apply changes. Okay, so we just go back one and do a refresh, go back, okay, so if you notice here, the change we made here, the hire date, we changed it from 17 June 03 to 04. So we've made a change. If you wanted to change it back, you just click on edit and come here and just type that in and click apply changes. One good thing when you create applications, it's always good to test it out properly. So if I, for example, here clicked on this edit, notice that there are some views that are hidden here. If I click edit, you notice here this salary here, even though it's not visible on the form, the standard user can still see that. So that is a security breach on this application, in that the people who are not meant to see this view can see this salary details. Even though they can't see it in the actual application view, they can still see it here. So if we had tested this application thoroughly, we would have spotted this error here. That's why it's always good to test your application before you deploy finally, because this is a demo. It doesn't really matter, but it's really important in a live production environment to test properly before you deploy. You can also delete record. If you want to delete record, you click on that and there's an option here for you to delete. I'm not going to do that now because as you can see, a lot of the options appears to still be active. So a standard user should not see this option, and a standard user also should not have access to delete all records or what they can. So there should be some restriction in place. So if this was a real production application, we would have tested it thoroughly to make sure that the standard user doesn't have access to perform certain function. As it is, it looks like they can delete, and they should be able to create records. They should be able to update records. Not all of them should be allowed to delete. So even within the standard user, you can designate people who can delete records. If not, you may have a lot of data being removed unnecessarily. So the basic CRUD functions that a standard user will perform will be to create a new record using that option. That's one function. To read, you can read data just by clicking on this edit here. You can also you can see the data, but if you click on that, you can see more of the data to read the data. And they can also delete by clicking and using the delete button. That's another function. So they can create, they can read, read, update, and delete. That's what CRUD stands for. So that is it. The application is not perfect because it hasn't been thoroughly tested. As you can see, the standard user can do certain things and can see certain records. Even though we've hidden them from the view, they can still see it via the edit button, which should not be the case. So thanks so much for watching. Take care and bye for now.